Look, he's the main voice in Europe, really. There's this new commission coming in. Mr. Borrell, the new foreign relations leader for the EU, was meeting with the foreign ministers of the UK, Germany and France yesterday in Brussels. They tried to come with a common line, but of course, as leader, Macron comes out as the main voice because Angela Merkel still caught up with her coalition issues, here in the UK caught up in Brexit and election, etc., etc. So Macron still trying to push France as this intermediary power, you know, this de Gaulle vision of France being this middle power and trying to brokerage meeting. And so Macron with Iran has been trying to do that. He's tried to do that with Ukraine. He had this meeting with Putin and Zelensky in Paris, so trying to put France at the heart of the scene here, one of the permanent members of the UN Security Council, and with Iran tried to, from a few months since the sanctions came into place, tried to revive this nuclear agreement signed in 2015. You remember the G7, he had this diplomatic coup of bringing the Iran foreign ministers on the sidelines of the G7 meeting, was hoping for a meeting with President Trump, which didn't happen. Then there was a hope of this meeting between Trump and Rouhani would happen on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly in New York in September. Again, the French administration and Macron very much at the center of these negotiations. Again, then it was downgraded from a meeting to a phone call. Again, that didn't happen. But France still very much trying to stay here in the middle. Yesterday, holding that call with President Rouhani that lasted more than an hour, just in itself was quite interesting. There was such a long conversation.
We know that Monsieur Macron wants to be the de facto leader of Europe after Frau Merkel. Looks like her influence is waning somewhat as well. We know that he has the idea of the European Union having a muscular foreign policy as well. And you mentioned this coup down in Biarritz in August last year, where I was down there as well. But it doesn't seem to be quite working at the moment. So is he being thwarted by his own over-ambition or the lack of appetite from other Europeans? And I'll draw into this conversation one that you and Karen are all over as well, is that his lack of ability to get the Europeans behind some form of digital tax. When it comes to these big international issues, Monsieur Macron is clearly pushing more aggressively than other Europeans. But at the moment, he seems to be thwarted by the lack of unanimity.
No, definitely. And this, he's doing this exercise of pulling both strings of putting the national, France at the heart of the issue and the heart of the conversation, but also the EU level and trying to bring on some other partners on board and bring on, so some of these partners are not too keen on the initiatives led by France because it's very much a French vision. So trying to find a balance here on the European approach here. But again, there's no other voices on the European level for now at the moment that can counteract a little bit or balance that French vision.
Boris Johnson's also been very active in this story on the front foot, speaking to the Iraqi Prime Minister. I just question though whether Macron is the right person to try and broker a relationship between the Americans and Iran. If you look at the relationship that he's had with President Trump, it's been somewhat awkward on many of the public outings so far. Would Trump want to hand a win to Macron in terms of bringing both parties to the table like he's attempted to do over 2019?
Again, it's real politics. They want to keep the conversation going. And again, on the European level, Angela Merkel is no closer to President Trump, though they had this phone call yesterday on the Middle East. But again, President Macron has been working on this relationship. Actually, in G7, there was a warming, it seemed, on the surface of the relationship between Macron and Trump.
Back on that firm handshake with Trump.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I did wonder when you said hand a win, whether that was a deliberate pun on the handshake relationship between the two gentlemen. Thank you, Charlotte, for that.
Hi, I'm Joanna Bersecci, and thank you for watching. You can check out more of our videos by clicking on the boxes on the screen. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more from CNBC International. Thank you for watching.